Hi, folks. My name is Matt Scudero. I'm with the Credit Research Foundation, and welcome to a CRF micro learning session. The learning session is titled A Lens on Today and a Look Forward for Electronic Payments. And boy, are we lucky to have Robert Unger with us. Rob is with Nacha. Rob is a senior director there. And many of you know Rob for his contributions to the foundation. And Rob, we're thankful for both your contributions from you from an educational standpoint, and certainly the support of Nacha for the foundation. And boy, what an integral part of the process you are for the receivable management space. So again, great to have you with us. Micro learning session. We just have a couple of questions for you that are being driven by our members, being driven by the surveys that we have recently released, including our benchmarking survey and our look forward survey in 2022. And boy, there are a lot of pointers towards the significance and importance of payments, particularly the movement to electronic payments, and finally starting to see that significant movement there. So a couple of questions for you. And so if it's okay with you, we'll just start firing away.
Let's do it.
Sounds good. Good. First question we have for you is for a company that is transitioning or has a desire to transition to electronic payments from traditional paper checks, what would you recommend as the path to get started? And then if you can include in there maybe some of the tools and education that's available to support a business's journey or continued journey along that path.
Yeah, sure, Matt. So, wow. I mean, if there's so many advantages to electronic payments, right? You think about the ability to automate processes, payment receipt, information, cash application. There's lower costs. You can tie the payment to the invoice. Certainly during the pandemic, we've seen just a huge uptick in electronic payments, helping with the remote office situation. So if you're just transitioning now, I'm kind of wondering, you're very late, time to get going. And so why is that? So maybe one reason is, I just need to get up to speed on electronic payments and the benefits. And as you mentioned, CRF, creditresearchfoundation.org, nacha.org, lots of resources out there, particularly on nacha.org, how the ACH works. We've got videos, we've got other kinds of tools out there to help people make assessments. But so maybe that's one reason why you're not doing it yet. Another reason could be, you don't have, I've heard people say our customers aren't asking for it. And I've got it's football season. I throw the flag on that one. Matt, you and I have seen in our research we've done together that one thing that's driving electronic payments is that, customers are asking suppliers to receive electronic payments, and suppliers are asking customers to provide electronic payments. So they're out there. If you talk to your customers, I'm sure there's a population of them that want to do electronic payments. Maybe it's in education. We've got the websites. We talked about the customers. I think they want to do it. Do you need help making the business case? Maybe that's still it. So in that case, what metrics are you trying to impact? Is it the collection effectiveness index? Is it the hit rate? It's all the metrics that you've educated me on and the credit professionals.
Sure.
And so maybe you're looking to impact that. So what you need to do is you need to capture kind of the current state, imagine what the future state is, what are your goals going to be? Need to get a champion and a budget, typical change management stuff. So if you're just in the middle of transitioning, welcome. And we certainly want to help you out.
Yeah, good, great detail. No, COVID has driven a lot of that, right? We over the past 2 years, we've seen a significant movement from those that were not transitioned yet to starting that journey, and just the push because nobody's in or very few people are in a brick and mortar environment these days, and maybe in a hybrid or a virtual world, and physical location, all those things have impacted
Exactly.
that whole process. Why don't we start to think about and move towards the behavioral changes that we're starting to see? And we certainly have, right? The behavior of movement to electronic payments. And that is from a customer standpoint, just as you said, a vendor standpoint, it is a process standpoint. But if we think about the changing world around us, What are some of the latest trends that you're seeing through Nacha? And then if you can tailor that also to how does it impact the credit professional? I think you have some really interesting insights here.
As you said, electronic payments are growing, exploding even, driven by the pandemic, driven by process efficiencies. I think the pandemic was sort of hyper stimulating the change to electronic payments. So ACH is certainly growing. We call it the thriving ACH. We've seen, double-digit B2B payment increases quarter over quarter. Really, one of the highest percentage growth changes in the ACH is coming from B2B payments. That may or may not include financial information, but often do. So I think a challenge maybe is the choices are increasing. Traditionally, Matt, when you and I got started, it was ACH, check, and wire. And what we see now is I don't know. There's lots of options coming, and some of them maybe only solve for one side. Matt, I know you often speak about it. I think it's a great message. There's an ecosystem. It's accounts payable, it's accounts receivable. It's a virtuous cycle there. But we see a lot of things happening that maybe benefit just one side. You think about I don't know, credit card. Certainly when I first started in payments, virtual cards, maybe P cards, but virtual cards were unheard of in B2B payments for $1 million payments and paying that interchange. But it's being driven by convenience and kickbacks to the payers. So that's an example of how some of the solutions are really kind of one-sided, but the other side has to react. I think you see a proliferation of portals. And Matt, you and I have done some research on that. We know that portals are great for one side, typically the buyer, but the suppliers who have to integrate and interact with multiple portals, it becomes kind of a barrier, and you certainly lose efficiencies after you reach a certain number. And you see reactions to those solutions. So more credit card. Now you see there's some surcharging going on, right? That kind of thing. You see other kinds of trends, where you talk about factoring, where receivable sells their receivables portfolio, and then reverse factoring, where accounts payable sells their payments, and then the factor then tries to drive payments and discounts. So it's so dynamic, this coming and going of the payment options. But there's certain things out there that are steadfast and true. Of course, I'm going to raise the ACH flag. I think a new choice with respect to payments is same day ACH. We've seen that really take off. And so with same day, good old, if you remember Coke and Classic Coke, classic ACH is you originate, make a payment today, it's received tomorrow. In same day ACH, we've increased the number of windows where a payment can be sent so that it can be received in the same day. And if you make it within the windows that are defined, settlement can happen in 3 hours. So you're not getting quite to wire time, but that's almost wire time. Wire time is about 30 minutes. We've seen at the 5-year anniversary of same day ACH, tremendous use. And we see that in B2B payments as well for emergency payments, possibly replacing checks. We've raised the limits. The limit's going to be $1 million in March of this year. It been kind of throttled for a little bit just to make sure we weren't exposing to more fraud. So that's a great option. There's other options out there too with respect to real-time payments. That's a new payment rail. Certainly, when you look at the increase in artificial intelligence and robotic process automation, they're trying to take some of the pain out there. So yeah, I think that the landscape is tremendous, and it is maybe of a challenge to see, what channels, what payment options am I going to offer? Meanwhile, we've always got to look at fraud. Fraud is increasing, and so how do I offer convenience for my customers, but mitigate risk and fraud. So that's a quick summary, but yeah, we just see all kinds of things happening, and mostly good.
Real good. Yeah, I like what you said, opportunity out there. And we have two surveys that are out there and two significant data points. One is that members are telling us today that they need to have multiple options. It's required in order to sell in today's environment, which may include e-commerce, et cetera. But also, one of the most interesting things that we just recently came across, and we'll publish in the next quarter or so, that members are clearly indicating that ACH payments have the most positive impact on their team's ability to collect funds. And it's the saving grace right now for cash flow, working capital, connectivity to their customers, and managing their internal processes in this hybrid environment where they may not have folks physically located in an office. So a lot of opportunity out there and a lot of good things happening. Why don't we start with another question here and transition a little bit with, with organizations planning to expand a number of ways to allow customers to make payments. What can you share with us in the way of new opportunities to the corporate B2B world that can help in that process?
Yeah, I think when you look at maybe the history of payments, I think it was 2005 or 2006 where the volume of consumer electronic payments surpassed that of check payments. And maybe just now, 2021 or so, we're getting to that same point. And so you see the business world mimicking the consumer world, but you can't say it's a fast follower, but certainly a follower. So if you look at the trends in the consumer world, what do consumers want? They want convenience, they want choice, they want to make it easy, they want a good experience, and all those things are getting wrapped up in B2B as well, right? You see companies expanding their choices. You see companies providing, a better customer experience for interacting, providing more information seamlessly, being proactive, and that's almost irregardless of the payment type. But certainly, you want to be able to offer those payment types. And I'm struck too, Matt, by something that we did a while ago. We came up with a sort of cost to serve, right? So when you think about what's my cost to serve customers, well, certainly if I'm a manufacturer of goods, I've got raw materials, I've got manufacturing and shipping, but payments and payment servicing and customer service certainly fits into that. And so, I get back to it's good to know your metrics, right? And it's good to know what your opportunities are to incent customers to pay a certain way. And we think ACH really fits into that. Even before the pandemic, we saw an accelerated move to ACH. I mentioned the growth recently. I do have the last quarter of 2021, there was a 17.4% growth in B2B payments. So, we think ACH fits into that, but I think it gets back to your basic blocking and tackling, your fundamentals around knowing your cost, having goals, and then driving towards that.
Today's environment's interesting. It's there's a lot of likeness between the B2C and the B2B world, and they overlap quite a bit. And sometimes it's hard to tell the difference, especially in an e-commerce environment.
Exactly.
Yeah, good. Hey, let's switch gears again, and I want to put on the lens of looking forward for individuals. I know there's a lot of good things happening within the space, and that Nacha is supporting as well. And so there's significant positive opportunities on the horizon for individuals to enhance the electronic payment world that they operate in. Can you share with us what some of those are and some of the things that the community can look forward to?
Yeah, I think when you look at payments itself, how do funds move on a rail between one organization and another? It works pretty well. ACH works very well. Wire works very well. Heck, I'd even say check works very well in terms of, the clearing mechanism, and we've got the Check 21 electronic clearing now, that kind of thing. people are able to use in the consumer world and the business world. You got your Venmos and your PayPal, which really are designed to provide an experience. And the underlying funds mechanism is probably ACH or wire. So we've got different ways of using and leveraging these systems. I think where we see a lot of friction is around the information that's needed to be exchanged and validated to support those payments. So you think about the customer onboarding experience. You need to not only obtain the information, but you need to validate that information. You think about the buyers out there in terms of AP vendor master. They have to acquire the information from the vendor, the W-9s, the insurance certifications, the payment types, et cetera, the terms. And the suppliers have to provide that information to every portal, to every customer. So there's just a lot of friction in terms of exchanging that data and in terms of validating that data so that, hey, once I have this data, I just want to is there a third party that can give me some more certainty that this data is correct? Do we have the right banking information? Do we know the name on the account? Do we know that the customer or the trading partner is in compliance with OFAC and OIG and denying persons? And how do we do this, more seamlessly? Right now, there's just a lot of friction. Matt, I know we did some research and we mapped what I call the spider web of all the connections you have to have in order to be able to collect and validate that information, the different API gateways and the contracts and the different terms. So I think, moving forward, I think that's a great opportunity. How do we reduce that friction around data exchange and validation? Understanding payment works pretty good. It's all those processes around it. Nacha, we're focusing on that a lot right now with our Fixius initiative, and I think others are too, to how to really simplify and reduce that friction.
What a great way to start to wrap this up. Just want to plant the seed for folks to think about or start planning for the not only the money transfer, but the exchange of information potentially on the same rail.
Right.
Rather than that spider web that you had referenced, and boy, will that be an advantage to all. So we're going to start to wrap it up here. What I'd like to leave folks with is where can they go for additional educational resources, not only for the environment that we are in today of just moving more to electronic payments if somebody's not there, or what enhancements can they add if they are there, but also where can they go as they start to think down the road for the next year, 2, 3, 4 years, 5 years down the road with some of those enhancements you had just referenced.
Oh, sure. Credit Research Foundation has a great website. So many resources on there. I've used it many times. Nacha.org. Again, there's videos, there's tools, there's information, there's flyers, all kinds of information about electronic payments, all the way from direct deposit to what we call direct payment, information for businesses, for nonprofits. So the information's out there, but I think it's also important to show a mastery of that information. Credit Research Foundation has some great certifications, and they should take advantage of those and to maintain their professional standing. I would also say that if you receive ACH payments, as I'm sure many of your members do, I would strongly advise you have an accredited ACH professional on staff. The AAP is a certification from Nacha. You need to know about the rules and the roles and the warranties and the responsibilities with respect to ACH. You need to know what your rights are when a payment goes wrong. And AAP is going to really help you with that, with respect to the ACH. So I think we've got the general website information. I think there's certifications to show mastery of that information that's very important. And I think there's additional opportunities. I know Nacha and Credit Research Foundation are cooperating on the SPEAK program. I know there's a link on the Credit Research Foundation website to show videos like this that provide some information that can help you stay current and up to date with respect to electronic payments.
Rob, perfect way to close it. That's nacha.org, NACHA.org, and crfonline.org for additional resources. This is a topic that's going to continue to move along. Rob, I hope we get you back at some point and just talk about some of the updates for folks. But can't thank you enough. One, for the knowledge share, and two, the support of the foundation through Nacha. It is greatly appreciated, and it is great to see you again. We look forward to seeing you live and in person real soon.
So, yeah. All right. Take care.
Super. Thanks, Rob. Be well.
Bye now.